Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Well, blessings to the hopeful elect, teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. And it's going to be a quick video dealing with, the latest in the Middle East over there. Pretty much what's going on in the land of Israel, all right, in which you got a bunch of heathens, in our land. And this is exactly why that land is going to have to be cleansed in the near future, with thermonuclear destruction, because, the shit that's going on over there in the Middle East, especially in the land of Israel, is a joke, man. It's a complete joke. And this is one example of why the Lord needs to come back, or he's going to come back and pretty much lay Esau's kingdom, or just reduce it to ashes, because look at, the vibration that he's pushing throughout the earth. All right. Let me go ahead and read you this article. This is from Reuters. All right. It says Middle East. All right. July 11th, 2021. All right. It says Israel's Supreme Court rules in favor of same-sex couple surrogacy rights. All right. And you got guys wearing t-shirts with, tight vests, with super GAY on the front, and they got the rainbow, and they attribute the rainbow to pretty much, their vile way of life. All right. Now, the rainbow, according to the scriptures, that was, the Lord done set the bow in the cloud as a covenant during the time of Noah, that he wouldn't flood the earth, all right, again, with water, all right. And back in the time of Noah, he was out there prophesying, and people thought that he was going nuts, and they were scoffing against Noah, because he was telling them that it was going to rain, there was going to be a flood, and back then there wasn't no rain. The scriptures tell you that there was a mist that came and watered the ground. All right, a dew, if you will. All right, and then that's why the Lord pretty much, wickedness was exceedingly polluting the earth, so the Lord flooded the earth. And you're dealing with the first death, all right, the flood of Noah. And just like in the time of Noah, you got people eating, drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage, you got unrighteous decrees such as this being pushed out, all right. Same-sex couple surrogacy rights. So that means that two men can now, use a woman, put their sperm in a woman through, technology and science, all right, and that child will now belong to the two men, and they're going to raise that child, and vice versa, all right. So pretty much we're living in a time at the end. All right, let me go ahead and play you this clip. This is from Y on News. All right, check this. It's gays get surrogacy rights in Israel, and this proves a number of things, but the main thing it proves that they're not the true people of the Lord that's over there in that land. All right, in fact, before I play you this clip, let me go ahead and read this scripture first. All right, this is Isaiah chapter 1, verse 7. It says, "Your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Your land, strangers devour it in your presence." That's the heathen. All right, heathen are in our land right now, devouring our land in our very presence, man. And it is desolate as overthrown by strangers. And this is the reason why you got shit like this going on over there in the land of Israel, man. All right, which we're going to get them scriptures proving that they are not the true people of the Lord, man. All right, let me go ahead and play you a little bit of this.
Surrogacy arrangement. After incorporating more guidelines, the law will now take effect in 6 months' time. LGBTQ rights activist groups have welcomed the court's decision. They've described it as a historic landmark in their struggle for equality. The gay couple that had appealed to the court against the surrogacy law in 2010 had said that the ruling is actually a breakthrough for thousands.
And look, you got the people out there, they're cheering in the thousands, man, taking to the streets, protesting, celebrating. All right, and the Lord said that there were going to be uproars of the people. All right, the Lord said that there were going to be uproars of the people, and whether it's uproars for, freedom of your rights on the earth, and anti-austerity measures, or anti-lockdown protests, or coming up against the government, or well, this is coming up against the government. Really, they're fighting for their for their rights, for men to be with men, women to be with women. All right, so at the end of the day, the prophecies are speaking, man. We are at the end of this thing, and you can clearly see that this kingdom is waxing worse and worse. All right, and that's why it's going to be destroyed. In fact, let me pause that and let me get a precept. And this should make you vex. If this doesn't make you vex, all right, because the scriptures speak about them that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. That's an abomination, man. All right, it says 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 6. It says, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, and condemn them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly. So these people ain't learnt, man. You know, these are not the true people of the Lord. All right, and Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities, you know, the 5 cities in total got destroyed, right? As an example, until this day, there's pillars of salt. Well, Lot's wife is over there right now as a pillar of salt, as a memorial, as a reminder, and as an example what not to do. All right, lest you be destroyed. All right, but these people don't care because they're in that do as thou wilt vibration. All right, that YOLO spirit, you only live once type spirit. They don't think about the consequences of their actions, man. All right, and furthermore, these are not the people of the Lord, man, that are over there. Now you gotta have some of our people, even some of our own people, you know, have trimmed their ways. They've followed after the way of the heathen, so to speak. Our own people are down there, mixed in there as well. All right, but by and large, you know, that land over there has been overthrown by strangers, like it said in Isaiah 1 and 7. All right, and that's heathen, that's Amalek that's over there, man, in that land, predominantly. All right, and yes, you are going to have some of our people that are scattered among these nations, that the Lord cursed us and said we were going to be scattered among all people. All right, but guess what? The majority of them are heathens over there, man. And that's why, you know, this is being pushed. Okay, remember the scripture says the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. Esau is responsible for turning everything upside down. All right, he's responsible for calling. In fact, let me get this precept. It's Isaiah 5 and 20. And Esau is a so-called white man, the wicked that the Bible speaks of. Right, the same people who the Lord has indignation forever against. And indignation means righteous anger. You can read that in Malachi 1 verse 4. All right, this is Isaiah 5 and 20. It says, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, and that put light for darkness and darkness for, and that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Okay, and that's why we sigh and we cry for all the abominations that we done in the midst thereof. This is darkness, man. All right, but what's evil is esteemed in this world as good. And what's good is looked down upon. So when we go out there on the highways and the byways and we prophesy and we do these videos and we come up against this vibration, you know, the scripture says they hate them that rebuketh in the gate, because the majority of this world is all assimilated. They're all together. They're all a bunch of demons. So they come up against us because we're coming out there with a righteous vibration, boldly. All right? And it's going to get even worse, man. And you can see why the Lord is going to, you know, just from acts like this, you can see why the Lord is going to come back and destroy this place. You can see it, man.
We're very happy and delighted from the for the decision of the Supreme Court in Israel today, that not just that the law was unconstitutional, but that the government has to change the situation, and within 6 months to create a situation where gay couples and single fathers are also have availability to use and to have contracts with surrogate mothers.
So there you go, man. You know, you heard it. You know, they want the, you know, men and men to be raising up a child, man. And this is what's pushed and held as a victory in society these days. In 2021, this is a victory for them. This is a win. And that's over there in the land of Israel that they're pushing that. That tells you alone that they are not the true people of the Lord, man. All right? Because when you go into the law in Leviticus, what does the scripture say in Leviticus? What is it, 21? All right, is it? Let me see if I can get there. Leviticus 20 and 13, Salakia. Right? It says, if a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. Now, there's a reason why I'm bringing out this law, okay? Because according to, you know, the book of Isaiah, the scriptures tell you that in Isaiah, it's the 2nd chapter, the scriptures tell you that in the future, in the latter days, right, in the last days, right, that the law is going to go forth from Jerusalem, man. And all the other nations are going to come to be taught of our ways. And we're going to be ruling over these nations in the kingdom. All right. And there's going to be war no more. And in fact, the Apostle Gabar, he always speaks about this the very day, in 1948, I believe, the Balfour Declaration, the very day that they got that land, the nation of Israel got, or the Israelis, they call themselves the Israelis, or the so-called Jews got that land, got their grubby hands on that land. There was war that very same day. All right, that very same hour, there was war that was breaking out, man. And even to this day, they're still fighting against them Palestinians over there. That's why the scripture says, strangers, your land is devoured, man. Strangers devour it in your presence. Okay? But according to this precept, we're going to read that there's going to be war no more in the kingdom. All right? And that shows you that these are not the true people. All right? You think in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to have people protesting for rights for two men to raise a child together? You think that's going to be going down in the kingdom? Okay, that shows you that this is not, look, man, this ain't it, man. This ain't our rest. Okay, we seek one to come. In fact, let's get that precept real quick. Right? Hebrews 13 and 14. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. This is not our rest, man. Like it says in Micah 2 and 10. We don't have a continuing city here, man. All right, the earth has literally been given into the hand of the wicked, man. The Lord is appointing Esau's bounds that he cannot pass. Okay, so let's go Isaiah, the 2nd chapter, and verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. All right, and the mountain represents a government. Okay, that's why you have something called, when you got these heathens getting together for a G7 summit meeting, what's the word summit refers to what? The peak of a mountain. All right, it's talking about a government. All right, so mountains represent governments, man. And it shall be exalted above the hills, the other nations, and all nations shall flow unto it. Right? Meaning what? The government of Israel, man. They're gonna flow. All these other nations are gonna come up to the house of Jacob. All right. It says, and many people shall go and say, come ye and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, to the house of the God of Jacob. Right? For he will teach us of his ways. So everyone's gonna go, and Jacob, right, is another name. Well, his name was changed to Israel, man. All right, so all these other nations, they're gonna say, look, let's go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of Jacob, right, the God of Jacob, and check this out, and he will teach us of what? His ways, and we will walk in his paths, right? And remember, it said in verse 2 that in the last days, this was gonna happen, and that's how you know that this is a future prophecy that's about to take place. It hasn't taken place yet. All right, and furthermore, there's something called the new covenant where the laws are going to be put on our inward parts, right? And we're going to be a nation of kings and priests, right, on the earth, and we're going to be ruling over the other nations, man. That's why they're going to come to us to learn of our ways. The same way that, these other nations, they have to learn of Esau's laws and his, rules and how to live life in his kingdom. They're going to be coming to us, but it's going to be a righteous kingdom. It ain't going to be wicked, man. Okay? The Lord is about to turn everything right side up. Because right now, everything's upside down. Everything's back to front. And that's why you got things like this happening out here. Okay? Which furthermore proves, that's why I read Leviticus, the 20th chapter and the 13th verse, proving that even in the law, that this is pretty much going against the scriptures, man. Proving that they ain't the people of the Most High. Alright? They ain't the people of the Lord. Let's go back to Isaiah 2 and 3. It says, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion, right, the Hebrew word to Zion, which means a monument of the Most High, which means the Lord remembers us as a people, right? For out of Zion, right, the Israelites shall go forth the law, right? Didn't we just read one of the laws? Let's go back to that law, Leviticus 20 and 13. If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination, they shall surely be put to death, their blood shall be upon them. And you best believe that you got men with men. You got Pink City over there. You got Tel Aviv over there. Right? That's further proving that these are the true people of the Lord. We just got to tell it like it is, man. Okay? We ain't out here to go along just to get along. No. Look, man, we got to speak about these prophecies, man. This is a future prophecy. The scriptures speak about in the last days, this is what's going to happen, man. Because out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people. Now, where's Jerusalem located? Over there in the land of Israel. Okay, so if this prophecy was fulfilled, then why have you got these unrighteous decrees being pushed for? Okay? Why have you got this way of life being put on a pedestal, man? Two men, look at this shit. Two men raising a child. Now that child's going to have to grow up in a situation where he's got two men grunting in the master bedroom. And he's growing up hearing that his whole life. You know? And then now the child's got... You got our own people that are involved in this as well, man. Not just in the land of Israel, man. You see, this is what I'm saying. The vibration of wickedness has gone throughout the earth. You know, you got moles of our own people that are scattered among the nations all over the world, man. Doing the same shit, fighting for the same rights. And that's why the scriptures speak about in Sirach, the 10th chapter, that whatsoever manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. And that's why the Lord is going to come back and lay this place waste. Back in verse 4 in Isaiah 2, and he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And over there in the Middle East, you got nothing but war brewing. Okay, you still got tensions with these nations, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. You still got Iran, you know, Russia, China coming up against America, and so on and so forth. Okay, all of these things, the wars and rumors of wars are all bubbling under the surface. World War III still needs to pop off, man. All right? And over there in the land of Israel, what did you just have? You just had war with them Ishmaelites over there. They're still warring with them Ishmaelites over there, dropping bombs on each other. So, hey, this is a future prophecy that's going to take place. All right? And the word prophesy means to say before, man. All right, so this has not happened yet. All right, where you got in this time, you know, these heathens are glorifying in the acts of sodomy. Guess what? That's not going to be going down in the kingdom, man. That's going to be put down. All right. So, hey, that's all I wanted to go into, man. I pray you were edified with this video. You know, and I just had to speak about this because I said, you know, this proves that they're not the true people of the Lord. All right, it actually proves it. All right. They are not the chosen people of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And in fact, let me get one more precept, man. Because these nations, and that's why the scripture says, when the wicked bear fruit, the people mourn. All right, let me get that precept. Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear fruit, the people mourn. And that's why you're seeing people protesting non-stop. All right, people ain't, man, the kingdom of heaven is going to be beautiful, man. Righteousness is going to be flourishing throughout the earth. All right, and our law is going to be final, man. The laws the laws gave to Israel, man, it's going to be final. When the nations come to us to get taught of our ways, they're going to have to walk straight, or, they're going to have to taste of judgment, man. All right. In fact, there's a scripture that speaks about if the nations come up not up year to year, then they're going to get no rain. All right. In fact, let's find that scripture. What is it? Zephaniah? Or Zechariah? Let me see. Yep, Zechariah 14, verse 17. Okay, in fact, let me start from 16. And it shall come to pass that everyone is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem, right, shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, right, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua of hosts, to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So they're going to be following after our high holy days in the kingdom, man. How about that? They're going to honor the Sabbath. They ain't going to be working on the Sabbath. Like the same way that you got to follow Esau's rules in this society, they're going to be following our rules in our society, in our kingdom, man. And it's going to be an everlasting kingdom. Our word is going to be law. That's going to be it. It's going to be absolute. And it shall be whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth. So this links up with Isaiah the 2nd chapter, right? They're going to have to come and get taught of our ways, man. They have all the families of the earth, man. We're the chosen people of the Lord. Right? It says, of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. Okay? And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague, wherewith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua will smite all the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. You're going to get judged, man. Okay? This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations. Where's the equality in this, man? About God's all love. Where's the equality in this? Right? We're going to be ruled. You can't be equal if you're a ruler. You listen, if you're ruling, you have to have certain subjects to rule over. That's not equality. So all the nations, that if they don't come up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles, man, they're going to get punished, man. They ain't going to get rain. They're going to be starved. They're going to have famine. They're going to have rain for their crops to grow, so on and so forth. They're going to get judged, man. All right? Right. Back in Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So if they do right by us, hey, they're gonna get blessed. They're gonna be all right. They're gonna be cool. They're gonna have their rain. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have clean water to drink. They ain't gonna have to worry about GMO foods or, cancer spreading and shit. They ain't gonna have to worry about all these pestilences that Esau's pushing out in the atmosphere. They ain't gonna have to worry about this shit, man. Okay? Clean food to eat. Okay? Lawful food, not the fucking shrimps, lobsters, and pork, and crab. You ain't gonna be doing that shit in the kingdom. Right? It says, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Alright? And Esau spreads nothing but death, disease, misery. Alright? Because the scriptures tell you that he is as death. And that's why the people are in mourning right now, man. Alright? And that's why, they're going to love us in rulership. Now, the scriptures speak about the creature, the earned expectation of the creature. Let me see if I can get that scripture. Yep, this is Romans 8:19. It says, the earnest expectation of the creature, right, waiteth for the manifestations of the sons of God. And we are the sons of God. That's what Israel means, what in the Hebrew, Yasha'Allah, which means he, prince, power. Right? We are the princes of the power, man. Right? So all of creation is in groaning, man, and waiting for us to rule. Really, deep down, the whole earth is in mourning, man, because the wicked is in rulership. All right? Now, ultimately, it's going to turn out like this. The nations are going to love us, man. And they're going to love to worship. All right? And come up from year to year. They're going to love to give their daughters over to us, and so on and so forth. It's going to be a blessing to them. This is Deuteronomy 4:5. It says, behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord Yahweh, my power, commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Right? The Lord's statutes and commandments were given to who? The Israelites. No other nation. Okay? Scriptures tell you that in Psalms 147:19. It says, keep therefore and do them. Keep what? The commandments, the statutes. Right? And we're going to be keeping them perfect in the kingdom, man. Hebrews, the 8th chapter. You got certain guys talking about how they don't reverence the book of Hebrews. Or the book of Hebrews is not a part of is not the word of the Most High. Because it don't say, thus saith the Lord. You got certain cats spouting that shit, man. But guess what? The book of Hebrews was pretty much. That clarifies what was written in the Old Testament in Jeremiah the 31st chapter. About the new covenant, man. And Ezekiel. Alright? And it said the same thing. The law is going to be written on our inward parts. And we ain't going to have to teach our neighbor anymore saying, know ye the law. For all must know it. All will know it from the least to the greatest, man. Alright? We're going to be perfect in the kingdom. A nation of kings and priests. How about that? It says, and keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. So they're going to be looking at us like how wise they are. How wise are these people? Because we're going to be perfect. All right? We ain't going to not know what to do with creation. We ain't going to not know what to do with the elements. We ain't going to know what... No, we're going to be gods on the earth. Little mini Most Highs, like Apostle Tahar's been saying. We're going to be like mini Most Highs, man. It says, for what nation is there so great who have the power so nigh unto them? as the Lord Yahweh our power is in all things that we call upon him for, and what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which includes Leviticus 20 and 13. See, there's a way to govern over the earth. There's a way to treat creation. There's a way to live. And to bring forth life as opposed to bringing forth misery and death. And that's how Esau rules, because he's the wicked. The scripture says he is accustomed to do evil. Okay? The scriptures tell you that good is set against evil. Esau is nothing but the wicked that the Bible speaks of, man. And he's poorly managing the earth. So when the nations see how we're managing the earth in righteousness, in perfect harmony, of course they're going to love us, man. Because the scriptures tell you, it says, and they're going to say, what nation is there so great that have statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? That's why when the righteous are in authority, the people are going to mourn. Because right now you're seeing shit like this, man. This is fucking ridiculous, bro. The Lord is going to destroy it. They ain't going to suffer this place to go on much longer. Hey, the Lord is long suffering. And that's why we have to be patient. And ultimately, we understand why this is happening, because this place has got to wax worse and worse. Because the judgment is going to be so heavy that comes down upon this kingdom, man. Right? The righteous indignation for the Lord. That's why the Lord is making this place get worse and worse, to the point where, look, he's just going to ultimately judge it with the heaviest judgment. That's why the time on the earth is coming like no other since there was a nation, man. Alright, so anyway, with that, man, I pray you were edified. You know, Kala Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Kudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone that rule well. Alright? And shalom to the hopeful elect.